lawn looks good. Maybe it's time I started making this thing look good. Yep, I'd say it's about that time. Almost 3 months ago now, I bought this fully built 2002 SVT Ford Lightning, sight unseen down in Florida, drove it back home, and for the most part, it has been sitting right here since then. That all changes right now. So to recap, I found this truck on Facebook Marketplace, called the guy up, said, yep, I want it, got on a plane, flew down to Florida, handed the guy the cash, drove the truck over to the other side of the coast where my parents have a condo, spent a week on vacation, did some minor maintenance, looked the truck over, put a radio in it, and then my wife and I pretty much filled it up with gas, got on the highway and pointed it straight north. We did 1,500 miles back to New Hampshire right here, and it has pretty much been sitting here since then. Unfortunately, we didn't quite make it the full 1,500 miles. The truck started misfiring about 150 miles from home. The truck started misfiring. I could feel it, dropping a cylinder, bringing a cylinder back, and it seems to come and go. It seems okay right now. Kind of intermittently, it would come and go. It seemed like it had gone away, but I didn't want to risk it, so my good buddy Ray was able to trailer the truck back to my house here for me. I drove it around town for a week or two. Actually, I think it was my daily driver for 2 weeks after I got back. Truck never had any more problems, never misfired, never even threw a check engine light. But I never felt comfortable taking it on a long trip again, just basically around town stuff. But I probably put another 200 miles on this thing, no issues at all. But ever since the tags have run out, it's basically been sitting right here in the driveway, collecting dust, collecting pollen, just absolutely filthy. And it's time to get to work on this thing. So to recap, this thing is fully built, 73 or 74,000 miles on it since I drove it 1,500 miles home. Clean title, black 2002 Ford SVT F-150 Lightning. It's a mouthful. It's a Lightning. It's a second gen Lightning, 99 to 04. Thing's sick. It's got a built stroker motor from JLP or Johnny Lightning Performance, ported heads, cams, ARP, everything. It's got a massive 2.6 Kenny Bell on it, exhaust, long tubes, traction bars, built transmission, 4 fuel system. This thing has over $30,000 in it from over 15 years ago. I think it was early 2009 that this thing was built, and it is an absolute animal. I stole this truck at only 20 grand. These things go for anywhere from $15,000 to like $50,000, depending on mileage, title status, colors, mods, things like that. But 20 grand is usually like approaching 200,000 miles stock truck, not a 75,000 mile clean title truck with $30,000 of stuff under the hood. So that's why I flew to Florida. That's why I bought it sight unseen. And I apologize for its absence on the channel, but you guys know I've been busy with not only projects around the house that I don't show on the channel, but tons and tons of car stuff, as well as work's been busy, but who cares about all that? We're on the Lightning right now. So here she is, been sitting in the row of dead cars. Don't worry, still got the E63. I will have an update on this car soon. It's summer. This is my, basically my winter / beater daily driver. Now that it's summer, I've been trying to focus on, other fun cars. So I don't need it as much, so it hasn't been high on the priority list, but not selling it, gonna fix it, got parts for it, gonna have time to work on it soon. Still love this thing. Anyways, Lightning. Like I said, been sitting here 6-ish, 7 weeks maybe, so I think first things first, let's grab the keys, do a cold start, see how she likes it. I only got the C6 out from under the cover. Let's see. This is the Lightning. It's the Lightning because of the boar's head, keychain that came on it. That's how I know. One of those things, never even asked the previous owner, what's up with the boar's head keychain, but I digress. Not touched the interior either. This is after 1,500 mile road trip. Honestly, not too bad. There's the Eon On double din I installed. Boom. Ford single overhead cam 5.4 liter with a big old Kenny Bell 2.6 slapped on the top. You guys, if you didn't already see everything about this engine, check out the first and or second video. I'll link it up here. But she's solid. She did the whole road trip with the exception of some misfires towards the end there, but I think it's going to be an easy fix, and that's what we're getting into in this video. Oh yeah, she loves it. Sounds just as good as it always does. Good oil pressure, good fuel pressure, vacuum looks good. Pretty anticlimactic 6-week cold start, but I'll take that. Oh yeah, been sitting here too long. It's hot out today. And there's something about cruising a single cab pickup truck down a back road on a beautiful summer evening. Something about that back glass being right behind you. Love it. So the focus of this video is going to be not only maintenance, but some minor mods as well. And there's more of that coming. Parts are already piling up at the house. Don't you worry, this truck is going to be not even recognizable by the time I'm done with it. But in this video, I would like to get it 100% mechanically solid and reliable if possible. As I said, and as I'm driving the truck right now, it seems to be doing just fine, but I think I know what was causing our issues back on the drive home. It's kind of common on the 5.4s. So I'd like to take care of that along with some other stuff that I got for this thing. But first, now that she's warm, got to do the burnout test. Oh yeah! And you gotta love 15-year-old dry-rotted Nittos and absolutely no weight over the bed of a pickup truck. This thing lights, that was like a quarter throttle. This thing is a burnout machine. Woo! Love Ford Lightnings. All right, I suppose we should actually get to work on this thing. Well, this thing drives just as good as it has for basically the last 1,700 miles. No surprises there, but we know that there is potentially an issue. We got to fix it. Unfortunately, I just made the motor scalding hot by going for that drive, so I'm going to save myself some burned forearms, open the hood, let it cool down for a few hours. In the meantime, I'd like to wash the 69 Camaro, Thing has not been washed yet this year. It's filthy. Probably won't show that. Maybe in another video. And then we will wash this thing. Although it probably doesn't look it. This is actually a super clean truck. It's just been sitting forever through pollen season and spring and 1,700 miles. But it is going to need a little bit of paint work and a full, you guys know me, it's going to get a full paint correction, ceramic coat. It's going to look brand new when it's done. But it's going to be a while before we get there. But I always like to start with a clean slate. I can't be working on a vehicle and get psyched about working on a vehicle in my garage that looks like this. So I think just a quick spit shine, the old Haktua spit shine foam cannon is gonna really do wonders for this thing. So let's let it cool down, get it washed up, get it shining like it should. Then we'll pull it into the garage and I'll talk about what we're gonna be doing, show you guys what I got. You know the project's getting serious when it gets up on the whiteboard. This is my favorite time of year. It is like 9:30 out right now and it just got dark. Apologize, kind of ran out of light there and lost track of time, but the lighting is cleaned up. It's first bath in at least 3 months. The first bath under my ownership. Told you it was gonna clean up pretty nice. Really, really straight, clean truck, just like almost everything I buy. It's gonna need a paint correction, but it is gonna be incredible when I'm done with it. Already looks 10 times better. Hopefully we'll be cruising it again here real soon. Anyways, just gave you guys a sneak peek of what we're gonna be doing in this video via the infamous whiteboard, which now has all 7 of my vehicles on it that all need some sort of work in one way or another. I'm staring at a pile of parts that I've been stockpiling over the past week or two, just in kind of preparation for this video. So let's now go back to when I unboxed them like 3 days ago, because I'm a psychopath that can't stand to have cardboard boxes laying around the garage. So I unboxed everything so I could take all the boxes to the dump 3 days ago. So let's go back to when I unboxed all this stuff and show you what I got for the Lightning. All right, so first round of parts for the Lightning right here on the bench. You guys probably already know what most of this stuff is, and you guys guessed it. These 5.4s are notorious for, you know, especially when they get older and up in miles, ignition coils. And that is the only thing I can think of that would cause an intermittent misfire like that in the Lightning, where it would be fine for a little bit, then it would go away, then it would be fine. There's, you know, that it kind of eliminates a mechanical problem. Fuel pressure was totally constant the whole way, so it seems like it's leaning towards ignition coils, and again, very common on these things. So I figure, you know, the truck's 22 years old at this point, even though it's had a bunch of work done. If you guys remember the first video, I found some suspect ignition coils behind the driver's seat. I think this thing's due for a brand new set of ignition coils and brand new plugs. Now, coils and plugs are notoriously hard to do on this motor, and they might even be even harder to do with that big old Kenny Bell and power plenum, or whatever the JLP calls that inlet there. So I want to make sure I only do this once. So I definitely wanted to go with an OEM coil. I've always had good luck with OEM coils, whether it's Chevy or Ford or whatever. Ignition coils, I always try and go with OEM. You can get the Motorcraft ones on eBay, or what says they're Motorcraft ones on eBay, for like 90 bucks. But part of me thinks that they're like a Chinese knockoff. They're anywhere from like 60 to 100 for 8 of them. There's like a million different sellers. And if you go to like Rock Auto, for example, the OEM Motorcraft ignition coils are like $47 each. So a full set of 8 for 80. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. But word to the wise, you guys with the 5.4s, Denso is the OEM manufacturer of the Motorcraft ignition coils for these trucks. So if you go online, just shop around for the best price for these, which is the Denso 5.4 ignition coils. Of course, I found the best price on Rock Auto. Rock Auto, for the 100th time, please sponsor me. These are $27 each. So almost half price compared to the Motorcraft ones for the exact same thing. Coils, check. Plugs, again, because I've heard they're a pain to do on this truck, I went with an Iridium. This is a TR7IX. So I think this is 2 heat ranges cooler than stock. A lot of guys run TR6s on these, just like I run on my 0304 Cobras, but because this set is an aftermarket blower and running a little bit more boost, I think 2 heat ranges down, and then an Iridium will be nice. I'll figure out where I want to gap those. Got a massive 4-inch JLT air filter. This thing is longer than the stories my wife tells me about her coworkers. Look at that thing. Shoo! I'll show you guys in a little bit once we get into it. The air filter in there looks kind of dirty. And we'll get into this stuff a little bit later. But I don't want to sit here and talk your guys' ear off, so it's a little bit late right now. I'm not sure how much I'll get done tonight, but for now, let's dig in, get the hood open, see what we're in for as far as doing these coils and plugs. Well, now we're in it. Next day here. It's even hotter outside, so I put one of these fancy portable air conditioning units in. It's keeping me cool over here. Got the air intake system off. We'll get into that in a little bit. I've started on what I think is the easy side. So far I've had to remove a bunch of stuff, including these beautiful Aeromotive fuel rails. which were completely covering the factory coil packs. The factory fuel rails, if this was a factory setup, you wouldn't have to remove the fuel rails to do this, but these Aeromotive ones were basically directly above the coil packs there. But removed some lines, got this heater core line zip tied up out of the way, and I actually opened up a bunch of room. I think this side's gonna be, knock on Kenny Bell, not too bad. Got the first plug out. It's a Motorcraft. The part number's right here, AGSF12FM1. I looked that up. I think that's one range colder than stock, but honestly not positive. Anyways, these TR7s are 2 heat ranges colder. This thing was gapped at like 40 or 45 thou, which in my opinion is way too much for 15 to 18 PSI that this truck was running. I ultimately have decided on running these NGKs at right around 30 thou. I've always used one of these like coin spark plug gappers, but finally decided to spend a couple bucks on Amazon and get one of these professional ones, I guess you'd call it. You basically drop this thing in here, crank this thing down, then use your feeler gauge to see what your gap is. In this case, like I said, focus 30 thou. Obviously, you guys who know spark plugs or metals in general, you have to go past the point that you want, because that tip there is going to bounce back. It's going to flex back a little bit. So for example, if you want to gap it at 30 thou, you really need to bring it into this thing to 25 thou and then release it. So I started doing it that way, and then I just kind of started eyeballing it, and then getting my, slowly like going a little bit at a time, little bit, and then getting my feeler gauge in there until it was nice and tight. So these 4 are done at 30 thou. We're good to go there. Over here, decided just for, you know, giggles, I'd get out the scope here and take a look inside the cylinder. Got a little bit of carbon buildup, but nothing too crazy. It's always hard to get a good visual for you guys, even for myself on these things, but everything looks good as far as I can tell. Even more interesting is if you pull this up, check that out. That is definitely more than 4 threads. I'll have to look at my receipts again for this truck. I don't know if these are aftermarket heads or like factory heads that have been ported. I know they're ported, but as far as I know, all Lightnings built before like 2003 or something, you experts can let me know in the comments, had the 4-thread heads. Before the Cobras were shooting out spark plugs, the Lightnings were the OG trucks. They were shooting spark plugs out of the head because they weren't tightened properly. So I think in 02 or 03, they went to the 9-thread heads, just like they did on the Cobras a few years later. But it appears, at least on one head, at least on this side, we'll check on the other side too, that we have 9-thread, 9-thread heads. So that's good. I'll see if I can poke around, see if I can find like an aftermarket casting or something, but happy to see that. Coil pack is, I don't know. Honestly, don't see any markings on this thing. Jury's out on what these coil packs are. I'll take a little, okay, there's a part number right there. I'll have to take a closer look later, but not exactly sure what these are, but anyways. Yeah, let's keep going, get this side wrapped up, see what we're getting into on the other side. Let's keep the progress rolling. Looks like another storm moving in. Next day, again, so technically day 3, but I really only worked for like 15 minutes on this thing the first night. Last night, 2-3 hours, and we are done with 8 plugs and 8 coils. So here we are. 8 brand new Denso / Motorcraft ignition coils and 8 new NGK BR7IX spark plugs. Honestly, not that great, but not nearly as bad as I thought. Once I got past the fact that I just was going to have to remove the fuel rail no matter what, I zip tied some lines and stuff up out of the way, got everything out of the way that I could, unhooked the fuel regulator that was over here, just kind of get that tilted over here. And honestly, once that was out of the way, pretty decent access to all 8 over here. This one, I removed a little bracket right here, obviously removed the air intake. And these 2 are pretty easy to get to right from the front here. And the back 2 in that dark, mysterious area back there, which you can't even see. Honestly, not too bad through this little access hole here. So I don't know how it is with a stock Eaton, but with a 2.6 Kenny Bell and this ridiculous JLP power flow intake, not too shabby. I still need to get this fuel rail on, so hopefully I didn't just jinx myself, but managed to get this one back on, no problem. We're looking good. Spark plugs gapped at 30 thou. Also, interesting note on these coils. I think it's, wow, it's getting really windy out there. Like real windy. Anyways, I took a picture, so I'll put that up on the screen right now. There's a Motorcraft part number that Denso just slapped their sticker over. So further proof that Denso is the OEM supplier for the Motorcraft coils. I would expect no problems with these at all, hopefully. Kind of surprising, all 8 coils that came out of the truck matched. No part number that I can see, but I was expecting to see some mismatched ones since there's some that were behind the driver's seat there. I think there was a Weapon X and maybe a cell in there as well, but who knows. So need to get that all reassembled. Unfortunately, I've run into a little bit of a problem with the air intake system here. First of all, this is a fiberglass tube from JLP. Pretty nice piece, but I believe someone over tightened the clamp at some point and there was a crack right here, which probably explains why there was Gorilla Glue all over the top of this, probably trying to get it to seal. But my guess is there was a vacuum leak right here. And so we're gonna have to repair this with some fiberglass. The bigger thing I've run into right now is this boot, or this silicone coupler that goes over this massive throttle body here. It actually feels kind of loose. But would definitely tighten down with some, worm clamps or hose clamps, whatever. I figured this was a 6-inch clamp, just kind of estimated. I knew it wasn't a 4-inch, just estimated by the size that it was 6-inch. Ordered a 6-inch one right here. This was $12 for 2 of these on Amazon. Way too big. Looser than a sleeve of Wizard right there. Said, okay. All right, it's got to be a 5-inch, right? Ordered another 2-pack of these on Amazon in a 5-inch. Not even close. Way too small. So I measured the original one as best I could in trying to get it into a circular shape again, which is probably what I should have done from the get-go. You guessed it, 5.5 inches. Okay, no problem. Just another $11-12 for a 5.5-inch coupler, right? Wrong. You're so freaking wrong. If you want a 5-inch to 5.5-inch coupler, sure, $14-15, no problem. Oh, but you want just a regular straight coupler? $52. So yeah, I don't know what's up with the 5.5-inch silicone coupler size, but the cheapest one I can find is $52, and it's basically the only one they make. I don't know why if you want a reducer from 5.5 inches to 5 inches, it's like $12, but if you want just a straight coupler, it's somehow 5 times more expensive. So That sucks. I'm gonna have $75 in silicone couplers in this thing, but I guess I got some going forward. But what sucks is we're basically ready to start the truck, and I'm gonna have to order that now. It's probably gonna take a few days to come in. I think we can use this for now, but I would like to replace this. It's old, it's ratty looking, and fits kind of loose on there. But anyways, enough complaining. Plugs and coils weren't too bad. Got that knocked out. I think I got everything else plugged in. Let's get this fuel rail back on, see if we can cobble this intake back together for now temporarily until I can do some fiberglass work on this tube and then probably repaint it as well. I'll see if we can slap the new filter on there and hopefully fire this thing up. What was that? Big puff of smoke over here. Something just blow around, or what's the deal? I shut it off, for the record. Let's try again. We're back. I don't know what happened in that last clip. I think that when I started the truck, it connected to Bluetooth and therefore paused the video. Really need to stop that from happening. But anyways, truck fired up, seems to run okay, but I think I've got a vacuum leak. The idle's kind of a little wonky and my wideband was like pegged lean. And it's entirely possible I forgot to hook something up. Like this, for example. Don't really remember where it goes. Comes off this little module right here. Also, there's like this map sensor. It looks like a map sensor back there that I'm almost positive that was just kind of hanging out there, you know, when I started this. So lightning guys, especially with aftermarket blowers, is that, you know, sensor just supposed to read ambient air or supposed to be in the manifold somewhere and that's where my leak is? I don't know. Anyways, this is the perfect time to try a new tool that I just received from Autoline Pro, and I unboxed it the other day because, again, I'm a psycho and wanted to take some stuff to the dump, but beautiful, beautiful smoke machine that these guys sent me. I saw it on Instagram and I was like, yep, gotta have it. But it's a really small, compact design, really simple setup, comes in a beautiful box. Small company made right here in the USA, in California, I believe. I believe the guy that makes these things actually is a mechanic himself. So we're gonna give it a shot. It uses their own proprietary like oil that's gonna make the smoke. It's got a tube here. You basically turn it on, or hook it up, turn it on, and it should make smoke. I'll use one of these adapters to hook it up to the intake manifold. It comes with a clip to hang it on the hood. Nice little handwritten note here. Love to see stuff like this. Nice quick start guide, just beautiful all around. I've wanted a smoke machine for so long, and I'm almost positive this is gonna be the one to have. This thing just looks sweet, and I think it's gonna be a great addition to the garage. So let's fire it up, bring it over to the Lightning, see if I can figure out a way to get it on the intake there and start pumping smoke through and see if I can find a vacuum leak. All right, let's add some fluid. Install the hose. Hit the button. Look at that. Already making a ton of smoke. Sweet. Let's find a spot on the truck to hook it up and see what we can find. Okay guys, well, Autoline gives you a whole bunch of adapters here to fit to a wide variety of different throttle bodies and intakes and things like that, but unfortunately none of them are big enough to this massive, monoblade throttle body or massive throttle body from Kenny Bell or JLP here. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. These would fit probably just about any other vehicle on the market, but this aftermarket setup's a little large. Also, I believe now they make a bladder that basically inflates to any shape. So that's definitely something I'm probably going to add to the toolkit here as well. But in the meantime, also you guys will have to excuse me. It is like 3 days later since I, did the first start on this thing, and I just got back from a bachelor party and don't really have very much voice. But we're fighting through it here in the garage, so excuse my raspy voice. But yeah, I've got her hooked into the brake booster line now, so this is gonna go right into the intake plenum right here, and should help us find any vacuum leaks or leaks that we have. So let's turn it on, see what happens. So it should be filling the whole intake and supercharger and everything with smoke. And if we have a leak, we should start to see smoke coming out, which I'm already seeing some. Oh man. Oh, we've got a massive leak. Holy crap. Yeah, you guys got to see that. Look at that. That is hard to see on camera, but just billowing smoke out of that bottom port there, which must be what this goes to. So I guess I forgot to hook that up. There's 2 ports on the bottom there, but it is just billowing out of there. Look at how easy that was. That would have taken me a long time to find without a smoke machine, but boom, easy. All right. I guess this goes on a second bottom port down there that I must have missed, that brass one right there. And so that explains this right here. Now I can hook it up and see. I knew this was going to be a good tool to have around the garage, but let's hook that back up, let it run a little bit longer, make sure we don't have any other leaks, and then we can put this intake back on and fire this thing back up. I saw it, dude. All right, well, you guessed it. It is, again, the next day. My double-sided tape on the intake tube there didn't work at all, so I decided to bite the bullet, fiberglass it back together. That I wanted to give it a day to cure. Just quickly sanded it down. As I mentioned, I'm gonna repaint and bodywork this whole thing, but I've got the intake system completely back together here. I actually kind of dig it with the open air filter like that, but I think eventually we'll put that JLP box back in. But anyways, finally got the right size coupler, $56 later, and a grand total of $75 or $80 in couplers. This one only came in a 6-inch length, so I had to cut it down, put it in the vise, marked it, and was able to make a pretty clean cut. Also, you guys won't even really be able to see it, but there was a bracket right there that I didn't really like how it looked. It's nice and hot and sunny today. Gave it a quick coat of paint and it cured pretty fast. Had to make 2 new hose clamps because the extra girth of this like 6-ply clamp is a lot more than this dinky little thing that came off of it. So no more Gorilla Glue, no more mess up here. We got a nice tight seal. We know we don't have any vacuum leaks there. Speaking of vacuum leaks, huge shout out to the guys at Autoline Pro for sending me the Ventus system here. This thing was invaluable as far as finding that vacuum leak. That was a big one, but you can see how easily it will be able to find even the smallest vacuum leaks and make quick work for me. I think that's gonna take care of my issue here. If you guys are interested in one of these, the link will be in the description. You really can't beat it for the price. Highly recommend it. So with that, I think we are back together here, and I think, fingers crossed, we're gonna be good to go. 8 new plugs, 8 new coils, new air filter, repaired intake tube. I cleaned the mass airflow sensor with MAF cleaner. I think that's about it. I think I've got my vacuum leak fixed. The mass airflow sensor is actually plugged in this time, and I'm about to turn Bluetooth off on my phone so that hopefully as soon as I start this thing, it doesn't cut the video off. So let's fire this thing up, see how she runs. This thing is running awesome. Just took the truck on a quick drive, you guys. It is running better than it ever has. Not only does it feel smoother, but I don't even know if I mentioned this in one of the previous videos. I don't think I did, but when the torque converter would lock in 4th or 5th gear, the thing would surge like unbearably under 50 miles an hour, and then it would kind of level out after that. I always just attributed that to the big cams that this thing has. I mean, you'll get that on those big jabs, but I swear coils and plugs have corrected that. Maybe it was the completely collapsed and destroyed and clogged air filter. Maybe it was one of the many vacuum leaks I fixed. Maybe it was the cracked and vacuum leaking intake tube. Who knows? But all of that, this thing is running awesome. Just took it down the road and back. So that's awesome. But we're not done yet. You'll notice I parked the truck outside, and that's because I need to do something on the inside, and that's kind of hard to do in the lift bay. It's hard to get the doors open. You guys already saw it on the bench. It's a wideband. So I described this in, I think, the first video. Quiet now. This wideband is probably from like 2006, maybe. I think up under the dash here, it's got, oh, you guys won't be able to see it, but, oh yeah, there it is. Wideband Commander. And basically, as far as I know, this is before I think I was even into cars, that's a way to like log your wideband before people use laptops and stuff. But anyways, this wideband always seemed kind of wonky. And now in hindsight, it's almost like maybe it's because there was massive vacuum leaks and the air-fuel ratio really was all over the place. Either way, I'd like to get a modern wideband in there, a new one, so we know exactly what our air-fuel ratios are when we're in and out of boost. So in order to do that, we need to get up under the dash and unfortunately up under the exhaust that I've just made scalding hot now. But yeah, let me bring you guys inside. I'll show you what I got. Boom, here it is, brand new AEM wideband. There's the part number right there. This is the same part number that I run in my 1200 horsepower twin turbo C6 Z06. It's the same one that I put in my silver turbo C6 that was before I had a YouTube channel. Just a good quality wideband O2 sensor, so it's kind of a no-brainer. Not only do they make a good product, but I'm very, very excited and honored and humbled to announce that these guys are a partner on the channel, and some of you may already know that the big dog, Holley, owns AEM. Holley owns a ton of brands, and I was able to get in contact with Holley through my buddy Michael Barblenardo. You might know him from Stay Tuned, that awesome, massive YouTube channel. Barbles, as I know him, is the man. We knew each other and grew up with Mustangs, specifically the 99 to 04 Cobras. He had a nasty Cobra swap bullet at the time. He said, hey, let me get you in contact with these guys at Holley. They're awesome. I think they'd love your channel, and the rest is history. So Holley is on board with Chris Sullivan YouTube channel. So Holley came through, got me a wideband for my Lightning, and that's really gonna help us to monitor what's going on in our motor, make sure that everything's gonna be solid. So we have to get this thing unboxed, I'm gonna start with the gauge and the wiring itself, hopefully take all that out and then be able to use the existing wiring. Hopefully by the time that's done, the exhaust is cool. We can swap in a brand new Bosch, what do they call it? The 4.9 LSU wideband sensor, and run it up, install it, and hopefully I don't melt in the scalding hot driveway. So wish me luck, let's get to work. Much better. Nice night for a cruise. Woo! We saw for boost there, but I saw a solid 10.5 air fuel, which is rich. It's safe, but it's definitely rich. I didn't see what was there for boost, but wideband working well. Truck's running awesome. Look at this. Torque converter locked, 45 miles an hour, zero surging. Could never do that before. This thing would shake you out of the cab. Running awesome. Oh man, I'm so glad that I finally got one of these trucks. They are such a blast to drive. This thing is running better than it ever has with just a few simple tune-up items. Brand new spark plugs, brand new ignition coils, OEM, that's important. New intake coupler, fix the intake, fix some vacuum leaks. What else did we do? Oh yeah, new air filter. The one that was on there was beyond trash. I've never seen an air filter that bad. Of course, a brand new wideband from AEM and Holley to make sure that this thing is running properly. It is running rich. At idle, perfect stoic, 14.7. I never went wide open. I'm still gonna kind of ease into it in this truck until I get the tune checked out, I think. But at half to 3/4 throttle, I saw pegging the gauge, 10.0. With a boosted application like this, you usually wanna see around 11.5, 11.7. So it's rich, which is safe, but probably want to get the tune checked out at some point. We'll see. But now we know. I didn't really trust this old Dynojet wideband thing, even though it did seem to react a lot better once we, gave this thing some new ignition components and got the vac leaks sorted. But I have got so many parts showing up for this thing every day. They're coming in big boxes, they're coming in little boxes, but the build for this thing is on like Donkey Kong. This thing is gonna be so sick when I'm done with it. Plenty more coming on the Lightning, plenty more coming on everything else in the garage. Lots of content coming at you guys. All that being said, I hope everyone has an awesome 4th of July. Relax a little bit, drink a couple cold beers if you're into that kind of thing. I'm certainly going to. And I'll be sure to catch you in the next one.